Hello, today we're going to talk about our methodological framework about water sanitation. We are Arad de la Llave, Emilio La Torre, Marcos Rodriguez, and me, Natalie Torres. Okay, so our experiment consists in that we are aware of the importance of water and that a large part of the population does not have access to clean water. This is why we want to build a homemade water filter so that we can share the project to stop diseases. Our hypothesis is based that the water filter will work so the tap and rainwater will reach 7 pH and the materials doesn't need to be changed for at least 20 days. The materials we're gonna need are coal, a water bottle, cotton, fine and coarse sand, and small and medium rocks. And the resource are rain or tap water. We could use dirty water, but it's not recommendable.
Well, in this experiment we are going to consider three types of variables: controlled, independent, and dependent. The controlled variables are the ones that will always stay the same. We have two of them: the amount of water used and the amount of materials used for the structure. The independent variables are the ones that will be changed each time that the experiment will be carried on. In this case we have the amount of materials that will be placed inside the filter. Finally, we have the dependent variables, that are the ones that will change as a consequence of the modification of the independent variables. In our experiment, the dependent variable is the pH of the water. The method that we are going to use to recover the data that will emerge from the experiment is to write down our observations, as well as the amount of each material used and results obtained. This process will be done each time that the experiment will be repeated. After that, we are going to organize all the information in a data table. Finally, we are going to identify in which attempt we obtained our expected result, analyze the data from it and also from the rest of the attempts, and make our conclusions about why the experiment succeeded in that attempt.
So how does this filter works? Well, the water filter mainly works by passing the water through the bottle and letting a glass of water that it will contain the clean water and the clear water. Okay, so first it will pass to some rocks and then it will pass to the carbon. Well, the carbon has some natural properties that helps him to eliminate partially some bacteria. Then it will pass to two capes of sand, the thick one that it will help to retain the big particles of dirt of the remainings of the dirt, and the thin sand that it will have to contain the little particles of the dirt. Okay, so then at the end of the filter we have a cape made of cotton. Well, the cotton mainly helps to get rid of some remainings of the dirt and give a better color to the water so that it could be more delightful to the eye of the consumer. Okay, so now the methodology used in this project, well, the methodology used to obtain the data to make the filter was mainly the internet. The internet helped us to obtain the better materials that we could get, and some materials that we have in our home, like plastic bottle, so that it could be more easily to make. And we also did some research on the digital library so that we could inform more about the problem that we have here in probably in Mexico and also all over the world, that is the contaminated water, and how to get rid of this contaminated water with some materials that we have at the same time in our home. So these two elements helped us to make like a great research to obtain our product.
Okay, so the ethical issues involved in clinical studies are usually an underprepared element in research proposals. This is often due to time pressures when designing projects, to insufficient importance being granted to these issues, or to an assumed self-sufficiency concerning ethical issues among researchers. The European Commission has considerably tightened up the ethical requirements for research applications to the seventh framework program. Currently, once their scientific content has been approved, many proposals, and especially those involving human research, must be reviewed for ethics approval before gaining funding. In the case of our water filter, because the materials and in general The technology that we're using has been available in the market for several years and therefore tested. The studies and testing regards ethics are not a main concern for our team.